Welcome back to Cocoanix 3D printing, and in today's video I'm gonna show you all the new innovations in 3D printing, and that is CMYK 3D printing. Some of you know I made a video about this a while ago. I'll link that one in the description if you want the background, but the technology has moved forward quite a lot since then. There are now several techniques you can use to pull this off, and today I'm gonna walk you through the top 3 methods as of right now. For today's video I'll be running everything on my DIY 5-headed Toolchanger. If you haven't seen that build, I've got a video linked in the description, and because I've got 5 independent tool heads to play with instead of the usual 4 filament slots you get in an AMS or Snapmaker style system, I'm actually going to be printing in CMYKW rather than the usual CMYW you see most people using. That extra dedicated black channel makes the real difference for shadows and depth, and I'll show you exactly why later on. Before we get into it, huge thanks to Tinmorry for providing all the filament you're gonna see in today's video. They make genuinely great filaments for pretty much every use case, whether you need something more engineering grade or just a solid everyday spool. Everything today is being printed on their PETG-ECO CMYK bundle, which has been a pleasure to work with. Links in the description if you want to check them out. Alright, let's get into it. Before we jump into the tools, a 30-second refresher for anyone that's new here. The whole idea is borrowed straight from a 2D inkjet printing. Your printer at home doesn't have a million ink cartridges for every possible color. It just has cyan, magenta, yellow and usually black. And it lays down tiny dots on those in different ratios. From a normal viewing distance, your eye blends those dots together and you perceive full color. That's called halftoning. 3D printing does the same trick, just sideways. Instead of dots on the paper, we're alternating entire layers of colored filament. Print one layer in cyan, the next in magenta, the next in yellow, repeat. And depending on the ratio of each color you use, your eye usually blends those layers into whatever color you're going for. A print with 1:1:1 ratio of all 3 might read as a body brown, while mostly cyan with a touch of magenta reads at rich blue. Add black and white into the mix and you'll get access to a much wider range. Lighter pastels and proper deep shadows. The upside is huge. Instead of needing 20 different colored spools just sitting around, you need 3, 4 or 5, and you can hit almost any color in between. Most people running this on an AMS or a Snapmaker style setup are stuck with 4 slots, so they run CMYW, cyan, magenta, yellow and white. With 5 tool heads on my machine, I've got room for 5th, so today it's CMYKW, with a real black filament instead of relying on 3 colors stacked together to fake it. The tricky part has always been figuring out the actual math. How much of each layer do you need to hit a specific color, and then getting your slicer to actually generate that. That's where the 3 tools come in, and each one attacks the problem differently. Today's video sponsor is PCBWay. If you build things, PCBWay is worth knowing about. They do PCB fabrication, CNC machining, 3D printing and sheet metal all under one roof, with fast turnaround time and competitive pricing. And if you're new to this and not sure what to order, PCBWay has a shared project section where the community posts open source designs that you can order directly. It's a great way to get your first part made without needing to design anything from scratch. I've used them for my own projects and the quality was amazing. If you're a new user, you will also get a $5 discount on your first order. Make sure to check them out. Links in the description. Now let's get back to the video. First up is Prime 3D. This one's built by Josh over at 3D Revolution. And honestly, it's the easiest entry point if you don't want to touch a slicer fork at all. It's completely free browser-based tool. Nothing to install, everything runs locally on your machine, and none of your files ever get uploaded anywhere. The workflow is that simple. You drag in your SDL, 3MF or OBJ file, and you literally paint colors onto the model. The same way you'd use a brush tool in any image editor. There's a brush, a fill, a gradient, and this is the standout feature, a photo projection tool, where you can wrap an actual photograph around your model and have it map all the colors onto geometry for you. Once you're happy with the paint job, Prime 3D has 2 expert modes. Standard mode takes whatever colors you painted and decomposes them into layers of cyan, magenta, yellow, and optionally white and black. So you can hit basically any color just by using 3 of these filaments. There is also a custom blend mode. If you already got a specific set of filaments you own and want to paint using exactly those colors, with dither blending only where you actually need an in-between shade. The output is a ready-to-go 3MF that you usually drop straight into a Bamboo Studio or OrcaSlicer. Set your layer height to match what it tells you, usually 0.08mm, assign your filament slots in the right order, and slice like normal. No slicer modification required, which makes this the lowest barrier option on this list. Most of you watching on an AMS or an MMU will exporting in CMYW mode here, but since my Toolchanger's got an extra head free, I'm setting mine to the full CMYKW mode. Second on the list, and this is genuinely a big deal, Prusa just open sourced their own color mixing model called ColorMix, and now is built directly into PrusaSlicer and their EasyPrint browser slicer. What makes this one different is where it came from. A lot of earlier community tools, things like OrcaSlicer Full Spectrum and various filament mixer projects, were built on color prediction models from borrowed paint mixing, things like Cocoanix theory. Prusa's team actually went out, printed a huge number of physical test cards on real filament, measured the actual colors with a colorimeter, and built a model calibrated against real printed results instead of theoretical paint chemistry. They landed on something based on the Yule-Nielsen halftoning equation, with a bunch of extra correction layers on top, because it turns out the real prints come out darker than the naive math predicts. Bright color mixes lose saturation faster than the dark ones, and cyan mixes drift weirdly warm if you don't correct for it. The practical result is a color you see on the screen when you're assigning colors in the slicer is a lot closer to what actually comes off your printer, which has honestly been the biggest weak point of every full spectrum method up to now. Because it's baked directly into PrusaSlicer, the workflow feels less like exporting from a separate tool and more just like painting your model. Right there in your slicer you already use, with instant accurate color previews. It works on Toolchangers like the Prusa XL and Core 1 IDNX, and on MMU styled single nozzle setups too. Prusa actually built theirs around the proper CMYK double combination on the 5 toolhead XL specifically, rather than settling for CMYW like most 4-slot systems, which is exactly the setup I'm mimicking for my own DIY Toolchanger today. And the best part, the whole model is MIT licensed and open source, so even if you're not on a Prusa printer, other slicers can and likely will end up pulling this same color mixing model in eventually. Actually, really quick before I go further, only 1% of the people watching my videos are actually subscribed. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed and you're enjoying the content, just hit the subscribe button. It's free, it takes half a second, and it means YouTube actually shows you the next videos. Okay, back to it. The third method takes a completely different approach and is probably the most clever of all the three. This is OrcaSlicer-ImageMap, a fork of OrcaSlicer that doesn't use color dithering across layers at all. Instead, it uses something called an overhang modulation. Every layer prints in cycles through a fixed pattern of colors, say magenta, yellow, white, repeating, but instead of varying which filament it prints on a given layer, it varies how far in each layer overhangs the one below it. A slightly wider overhanging layer sags down and partially hides the color underneath. A narrower one lets more of the color below show through. Stack enough through these micro adjustments and you get full images and textures wrapped around in the entire print using a fixed, repeating color sequence. The reason this is clever is efficiency, because every layer only uses the same color rotation regardless of what image you're printing, and there is only ever one tool change per layer, no matter how complicated the image is. This means way less waste, smaller prime towers, and can genuinely print faster than dithered methods on the same layer height, because dither approaches often need multiple tool changes within a single layer to hit fine detail. ImageMap can import OBJ, GLTF, and GLB files, with textures and vertex colors baked right in, project photos, or even text onto your model, and it plays nicely with the normal filament painting too, so you can mix a textured image mapped section with a plain solid color section on the same model. The trade-off is that more filament sensitive than the other two methods. You want the filament in the middle ground for the transmission distance, not fully opaque and not translucent, or the effect either disappears or gets too washed out. So, which of these three should you actually reach for? Honestly, it depends on your printer and how much do you want to fight with software. If you got a bamboo style AMS or an MMU setup and just want to paint a model and print it without touching any slicer settings beyond layer height, start with Prime 3D. It's free, it's fast, and it works the slicer you already have. If you're in Prusa machine, especially an XL or a Core 1 with IDNX, just use ColorMix directly in PrusaSlicer or EasyPrint. And honestly, it's probably going to become the reference implementation everyone else compares it against. And if you're lucky enough to have that fifth toolhead like I do, either of these tools will happily bump you up from a CMYW to the full CMYKW. It's a genuinely noticeable jump in richness, especially in darker colors. And what if you actually want a photorealistic image and textures wrap around the model? Think portraits, logos, artworks, rather than just solid painted colors. OrcaSlicer-ImageMap is doing something none of the others can really touch. I've linked all three of these in the description, along with a few other videos that are worth watching if you want to go deeper, including my earlier CMYK video for the fundamentals, my video on adding a fifth toolhead if you're thinking about going the Toolchanger route, and the Mad Max Toolchanger build video if you want to see one of these ideas pushed to the absolute limits. That's the full CMYK CMYK landscape as it stands right now, along with why I've been printing everything today in CMYKW on my 500 Toolchanger instead of the usual CMYW. Again, massive thanks to Tinmorry for making today's video possible with their PETG-ECO CMYK bundle. Links in the description if you want to grab your own. If you found this useful, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know in the comments which of these are you planning to try first. I will see you in the next one.